One of the easiest things you can ever do is answer a telephone when it rings, no matter how much of a nuisance it is. And it's worse still when you're taking a funeral service and someone has their mobile phone call and you say, is it God calling you or is it the dead person ringing you up? But we answer calls from all sorts of moments, and just when we least expect them, we get calls. Take Shane Jones here. I wonder when he realized he would be called to become a politician. Mind you, he grew up as a politician. It was just a matter of finding a forum for his politics to take shape. Most of us grew up in situations where we receive a call. It's really finding the moment at which that call bears some fruit. Here's this man called Levi. The Gospel of Matthew gives him a different name. He actually calls him Matthew. The Gospel of Mark just calls him Levi. There he is, sitting at a table gathering taxes. We're not told where the place is. All we know is it's down by the sea somewhere. And of course we know it's in the region of Galilee, which is where Jesus comes from. And Jesus just walks up to him and says, "Follow me." There's no hesitation. He just gets up and follows Jesus. And suddenly, he has a party that night, and who gathers with him? Other tax collectors, other sinners, or what some people refer to as other outcasts of society. They gather together, and Jesus sits and eats with them. Now, Jesus is a member of the temple. He comes from a recognized holy family. And here he is sitting with people that the people of the temple consider to be sinners and therefore outcasts and bad people. And so they criticize the situation that Jesus is in. And they ask questions. What's his response? It's only people who need a doctor they're the ones who need a doctor. Those who are not well, and those who are well, don't require a doctor. I've come here not for those who are well, but for those who are sick. I've come to rescue the sinners. It's as simple as that. The call is so simple. Each and every one of us receives that call at our baptism. We are called by God to serve each other as much as serving God. And so the call is a general one. But here we have a specific call to Matthew. I've already talked about my call, and I know when it happened, as a 16-year-old. But it was finding a place for that call to take its shape. And I found it here in the church. And I've been a priest now for 44 years. And I said to Jane one day, could you realize in 6 years' time it would be nearly 50 years of priesthood? Now most priests, if they live long enough, look forward to the time when they will celebrate their 50th anniversary. And again, Shane Jones was sitting in the kitchen this morning, and he asked me a question. What is the term that we use? We use the term momotu for the ordination of a priest. Where does the term come from? It's quite simple. It actually means to cut off or to separate. And I told him that in the old order of priests, you were actually separated out for a specific purpose. And in many instances, you went to a monastery to become a priest. So you were cut off from the world. We still use the term, but we use it differently. You're set apart, so momotu. There is a distinction about the tasks you perform. Your personality changes with that ordination. For the deacon, it's called a whakawahi, or a blessing on the beginning of your ministry. And for some people, they want to remain forever deacons. But we have a deacon in our midst that we are trying to talk into becoming a priest. He's that little chap that runs around here. He has a name called Tapu. But there is a person who is called, who has a musical ministry, who as an evangelist probably is absolutely superb without trying. And this place offers him an opportunity where he can shape his call. And today, we are gathered here together to honor someone else who actually responded to a similar kind of call, whose secular life reflects her religious life. I'm talking about Dame Joan. Because her faith is so much part of her secular life, it's hard to distinguish one from the other. And my wish is that we could all be of similar stature. That when we are called by God, we feel not separated from the others that we are in the midst of, but even more connected to them because God has singled us out. And I think Dame Joan has done that exquisitely over the years. She has been involved in Te Karaiti in the 27 years that the place has been here. She's been an integral part of what you see in this building, of the activities that have taken place here. So she has responded to the call of God, not just to write and take note of the changes that have taken place in Maori society, but also to note the changes that are taking place in the church. She's one of those people who got involved with the writing of our Anglican prayer book. And what's that, the liturgical piece that you wrote that looks at the 476 criteria?
The booklet about
yes.
Tui.
It is an explanation of why Maori is used in karakia and how Maori can be used, and it is also an interpretation of what the Maori is saying. And if you ever want an opportunity to sit and read a book that teaches you what a service is about, it is a very, very good piece of writing and easy to read. Of course, it'll make you want to ask even more questions once you've read it. But then that's what reading should always do. It should always lead us to further inquiry. And as a social anthropologist, that has been her task, is to make us inquisitive about ourselves, to put into words what we are doing, and give us an opportunity to ask even more questions about who we are and why we behave in the manner that we do. We are here to celebrate her 80th birthday. We'll wait until we've got in the dining room, then we'll sing happy birthday. But at the same time, Joan, God's blessing on you as you face your 80th year. Many more years to come yet, of course. I hope I'm still here when you were 100. Because I remember meeting Joan. I was about 11 or 12. You've forgotten?
No, you were younger than that.
Yeah, probably about 10, I should think. And it was in Rangitukia, in our house. And my sister and I were terrified of this very quiet Pākehā woman that came into our house. And once she got talking, we thought, oh, this is a human being after all, let's not be afraid. And I've always held her in awe, but not in the sense of fear. A great admiration for someone who has taken her call as a Christian from baptism through to her life now, seriously, and lived it to its utmost. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.